Oh, you're going to love this. It's from the World Socialist website. Grand Rapids police officer killed Congolese refugee Patrick Lyoya, age 26. Now, the shooting, not funny. The article, very funny. You'll see why. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
And this is by Michael Anders, and I have another article we can read from him that's almost as bonkers, but this is plenty good. So let's go ahead and take it away. On Saturday, April 9th, hundreds of Grand Rapids, Michigan residents participated in a march demanding local authorities release the video of the police shooting of 26-year-old Patrick Lyoya, and the police have since this time. A refugee from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Lyoya was killed by a Grand Rapids police officer in the morning of Monday, April 4th. And by the way, you already said it was a police shooting, so there's no need to mention again that he was shot by a police officer. Just a little writing tip there, Michael. Oh, this is good. The marchers paused once to stage a reenactment of how the family says Lyoya was killed. Oh, that must have been something. That must have been something. Here's how I think that went. You have Patrick Lyoya getting pulled over. I need to see your driver's license. Give it to me right now. Oh, it's in the car. I'm sorry. I'll get it as soon as I can, Mr. Officer, sir. Hurry it up. I haven't got all day. Oh, I can't seem to find it. What? You're under arrest. The officer pulls out a baton, starts beating on Patrick. And then Patrick, he's got to run for his life. So he's running off and the officer tackles him. And at some point, the officer has him down. And then the following exchange occurs. Mr. Officer, I am so sorry about what I did. I am going to give myself up willingly. By the hell you are. Here, take my taser. Oh no, I have his taser in my hand. He's got my taser. Click, click, click. Damn it, I'm all out of ammunition. That's how the reenactment probably went. All right, it says here, the reenactment showed a person on the ground with his hands behind his back. Oh, that's a good one. Patrick Lyoya had his hands behind his back. I missed that detail. And another person kneeling on top of him, holding his finger to the back of his head to represent the officer's gun. Oh, good grief. At the end of the march, participants held a vigil for Patrick Lyoya at the Grand Rapids Center for Community Transformation. So let me be clear on this. It's still under investigation. I'm not going to necessarily take a hard line on this yet, although to me, it certainly looks like a justified shooting. So I'm not making fun of the actual event, but their telling of it, and it gets even better. According to the police account, the Grand Rapids police officer pulled over Lyoya, which, by the way, differs from what the family told the media. They said that Patrick was already pulled over and was trying to work on his car when the cops pulled up. Yeah, that didn't last long. Those pesky cop cams always get in the way of those things. Who was traveling with a passenger at 8:10 a.m. that morning. Although the exact reason for the stop remains unclear. Really? The exact reason remains unclear? Okay, well, maybe at the time that this was released, they didn't know, but it's certainly clear he had the wrong plates on his car. The police allege there was an issue related to the license plate on the vehicle Lyoya was driving. There wasn't an issue related to the license plate. He had the wrong plates on the car. That's not an issue. That's a serious problem, one that needs investigating. You can't layer this thing in more euphemisms than this. Police maintain that Lyoya got out of his vehicle to speak with the officer and when the officer told him that he was going to be arrested, the young man attempted to flee. What? No, that's not what happened at all. According to Eric Winstrom, chief of the Grand Rapids Police Department, the officer attempted to detain Lyoya, and a struggle ensued, which lasted between 1.5 minutes and 2 minutes. Well, that kind of doesn't sound like what you just told us. The previous sentence made it appear that the police announced that he's going to be arrested, and Lyoya just ran off. Is this just really crappy writing, or is this just dishonesty? I'll let you decide. By the end of the struggle, the chief said, the officer had drawn his pistol and shot Lyoya in the back of the head, killing him. Okay. However, according to Israel Sikhu, interpreter for the Lyoya family, who speaks Swahili, the Michigan State Police gave a much different account. In a meeting with Sikhu and Peter Lyoya, the victim's father, the MSP showed them the video after the father insisted. Whatever. In an interview with News 8, Sikhu said that from the video, the officer pulled up as Lyoya was already out of his car checking something. Bullshit. Nobody believes that. Because it's on video. We know what happened. Sikhu further related that the argument did not start with the officer threatening to arrest him, but rather when the officer ordered Lyoya to get into his vehicle. Okay, whatever. What difference does it make? Sikhu explained how Peter Lyoya broke down when he saw the video. Okay, understandable. As a father himself, Sikhu said he was unable to sleep that night. This is not relevant. I don't care whether Sikhu was able to sleep that night. What's the relevance here? Sikhu went on to describe Patrick's killing as an execution. He's entitled to his opinion, but just because he thinks it's an execution doesn't mean that it is, saying that Patrick Lyoya was face down on the ground when he was shot in the back of the head. When reporters asked Chief Winstrom if this was an accurate description, he refused to answer the question. Not exactly, okay? He didn't simply refuse to answer it. He said he couldn't because it was still under investigation. The name of the officer who killed Lyoya has not been released. The department has confirmed that the officer is white and has worked for GRPD since 2015. After the killing, the officer was placed on administrative leave and the Michigan State Police were called in to handle the investigation. The Lyoya family came to the U.S. from the Congo as refugees, fleeing violence in their homeland. Whatever. While his father, Peter Lyoya, yeah, we know his name, lives in Lansing, Patrick was living in Grand Rapids with his girlfriend and their 2 daughters. Okay, so this is where things get really interesting. It says here, police records indicate that Lyoya had been arrested 3 times in relation to stolen vehicles and pleaded guilty to misdemeanors in these cases. Now, at first I thought, this is probably a biased author and he's probably making this stuff up, but this is the Socialist website. This is leftist. So if this is not true, why are they making this up? These are the last people that would fabricate this kind of thing. His father told News 8 about his son, saying he was a good kid, a smart kid, he was a hard worker. Well, evidently, he worked pretty hard at stealing vehicles. If that's true. His father continued, he was a sharing person. He helped his family. If he had money, he would share with them. You know what? That's all fine. If this dude, however, is stealing cars, you can throw all that crap out. Dude's a common thief in that case, and I have no sympathy for him. I hate thieves with a bloody passion. But again, I'm not sure that's true. The police have so far refused to allow the Lyoya family to see Patrick's body. Probably because you don't want to see it. I can understand the police saying, yeah, you know what, you don't really need to see this because he put the gun in the back of the guy's head and blew his brains out. It's probably not a pretty sight, and I can fully understand the police not wanting the family to see that. Kent County Commissioner Robert Womack, an asshole, accompanied Peter Lyoya to the medical examiner's office to ask to see his son's body. In a post on Facebook, Womack, a real jackass, stated they refused to show the body because of the investigation and the policies. Okay, well, there you go. In an apparent contradiction of these same claims, the medical examiner's office also told Peter Lyoya that they could release the body to a funeral home. I'm not sure how those are contradictory, but whatever. I mean, none of this is relevant to the actual shooting. On April 7th, Christopher Becker of the Kent County Prosecutor's Office took responsibility for the refusal to release the video. Becker said, "To maintain the integrity of this investigation, I have requested that involved police agencies do not release any evidence until the investigation is complete." Although Becker did not explain how the investigation could be compromised by releasing the video to the public, he said, "As is the policy with any ongoing investigation, we do not release any material for public consumption." So let me explain to the author what goes on here, okay? You're going around and you're questioning people. And one of the things you're trying to do is determine whether the people are telling the truth, right? If you tell them what happened, then they will massage their testimony to match what they have learned from the video. Okay, so for example, let's suppose that the driver was in a Honda, all right? When you release the video, everybody now knows it was a Honda. However, if you had not released the video and you ask somebody who claims they saw it, what was the victim driving, and they say a Toyota truck, that could tell you right there that the person is not being honest. So not giving out a lot of information to people who could be potential witnesses is a smart thing. And we saw that with the Michael Brown investigation. People changed their story. They actually changed their testimony when evidence came out about the actual shooting. Once they learned the truth, all of a sudden their memory changed, which indicates they didn't even see what happened. And that can happen here as well. As another example, on video, it might have Patrick Lyoya saying, "I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to hurt you." Didn't happen. But let's suppose that was on the video. Witnesses who get to see the actual police audio will say, "I heard him. He was saying, I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to hurt you." And so you have to be very careful about releasing information to the public. But this dude would never understand that in a million years. Even if he ever watches my video, I'll have to dumb it down for him somehow. But hopefully the rest of you, it's not too hard to figure out. While Commissioner Womack does not state it outright, he implied in an April 6th statement on his Facebook page that he may have seen the video. In his post, he says, "This was an execution. This man was murdered in a way I cannot accept." Further on in this statement, Womack said that a few police and many politicians have threatened his career because of his public comments. And that's right, dude, you're a public official. This is an open investigation. Keep your mouth shut. You're just trying to stir people up right now. You're trying to get them to take a stance when the investigation is still underway. Okay, so you want an example of some very poor writing? Check out this paragraph. The killing of Lyoya followed by several days another instance of police violence in Grand Rapids. Video of a GRPD traffic stop conducted on Friday, April 1st, went viral when it showed a police chase of a man into a vacant lot, where he left his vehicle and went to his house. The police officers pulled their guns on the man and his wife when they came out of their house. Okay, there is no context here. The police pulled their guns on him. Well, they have been chasing him, and he goes into a house. Gee, that is kind of worrying. I think I would have my gun out too. I have no idea what really happened here. There's no context, and there's also no resolution. Was there anybody arrested? What? So you leave us hanging. Don't bring up these instances unless you're going to explain what happened. Terrible writing. Peter Lyoya spoke about the broader issues which face immigrants and asylum seekers in the U.S. I want to say for those people who are seeking asylum here, refuge, I don't want you to think this is a safe place. Then don't come here. I thought it was a safe place, but it seems like we are in danger even when we come here. Then don't come here. That's the obvious response. Obviously, that's not the proper response, but then again, it's not the proper response because it's in response to something that's really kind of silly. The whole idea somehow that they are in more danger here than in the Congo, well, they came here seeking asylum from violence. Okay, it must have been pretty bad. It must have been pretty bad. And so this idea of telling everybody in the United States, well, it's just as dangerous, then don't come here. Go somewhere else. I mean, this is not an America First stance. I'm not saying anybody who breaks laws needs to go back to some other country or whatever. Yeah, we hear that crap from a lot of people on the far right. However, he's coming out and saying it. I came here because I thought it was going to be less dangerous. Well, it's every bit as dangerous. Well, you're telling everybody that if they're seeking asylum from violence, this is not the place to go. So another really bad article. It's just that the left cannot seem to be honest when they write these stories. Now, I'm not saying that the right is any better, okay? I don't really do a lot of disaggregation of their stuff, but the left, when they start telling their little tales, they just can't help themselves. They have to embellish. They have to use euphemisms. Why not just tell us the truth? If the officer is really at fault, then why not tell us exactly what happened? And if you do, and the officer is clearly at fault, we'll come to the same conclusion. When you start prevaricating and you start lying like this, it makes you wonder if the officer really is at fault. After all, why would you have to do that? So like my video and subscribe to my channel.